There is a type of insurance that is mandatory, that you have to have. And hopefully it makes sense as to why. And we're talking about auto insurance. Auto insurance is something that all drivers must have. And if you ever get pulled over, I hope not, but if you ever get pulled over, one of the things the police officer will ask, it doesn't matter if you ran a red light, it doesn't matter if you're speeding, it doesn't matter if one of your tires fell off of your car. What the police officer is going to say is license, registration, and proof of insurance, please. So license, there's my driver's license, registration, I own the car, and then proof of insurance. So in other words, you have to have, it's called an insurance card. You have to have a card on you that shows, yes, I am driving with insurance. That's the law. Reason for that is, what if you hit somebody else? What if you cause damage to something else? How are you going to pay for that? You're responsible. And so that is a requirement when you actually have a car. So what you have when you break down auto insurance, like what is it for? Why do you need to have it? Well, you have something in auto insurance called collision insurance. Collision is exactly what it sounds like. It's when you cause an accident and there's damage to another car. Your car may be okay. There was actually one time when I had one truck that I owned, and I actually caused an accident. It was my fault. I pulled out, and the other person, I didn't see him, and I kind of sideswiped him. Well, my truck was fine, and the other person, who wasn't all that upset with me, I mean, it happens, I was apologetic, but they even got out and said, wow, nice truck, because my truck didn't look like anything happened. The side of their car was damaged. And so, well, collision insurance, I had to pay for their damages. So that's what you would have collision for. Liability is if I cause damage to property. So let's say I run over a mailbox. Let's say that something happens and I'm out of control and I hit a house or I hit a building and I cause damage to a building. That is liability. What if somebody else gets hurt because of what I did with my car? So let's say I cause an accident and someone else is injured in the other car. That's liability insurance. So you can kind of see why it's kind of mandatory you have insurance like this, because you're responsible for paying for that person's medical bills, for instance, or that person, or the damage to the building or the house. Then you also have what's called comprehensive auto insurance. Comprehensive is what if a tree falls on my house, or my car, hope not in my house. But what if there's a storm and a tree falls on my car? And so comprehensive would pay for that. What if there's a flood and my car is ruined? Comprehensive insurance. So now here's the thing. Depending what you're doing, you don't have to necessarily get all of these. You have to have, like for instance, liability you have to have. That you have to have that at minimum. You have to have liability insurance. If you hit somebody else, you've got to be able to pay for it. So, but the other ones are kind of optional. So some people don't have comprehensive, that I'm not going to worry about a tree falling on my car. But if it happens and you don't have comprehensive auto insurance, well, that's it. You know, a tree fell on your car. So I hope you have enough money to pay for it. Now, the other thing that you have to keep in mind, and again, it's optional, but you have insurance for auto insurance called uninsured or underinsured. And what that means is, if you're uninsured, well, you're not uninsured, you have auto insurance. What if somebody hits you that is uninsured? Now, one, they broke the law. So I actually got into an accident once where I had somebody who hit me with no insurance. So what happens? Well, my uninsured policy kicked in, and so my car was still covered. But when you're looking at, you know, now that the other person got in trouble, by the way, with the law, they got in trouble, but because they didn't have insurance. But having underinsurance or uninsured insurance means I'm still covered in the event they can't pay for it. Now, my insurance company is going to sue that person, but let's say the person doesn't have any money, and so I still get my car fixed. Underinsured means, okay, the person had insurance, but they didn't have enough to cover my car. Because what's going to happen when you get auto insurance, you set how much insurance you want. How much are you willing to pay for? And so now you've got to cover yourself. So if, for instance, let's say somebody hits my house and with their car, they have insurance, but they only have $50,000 of liability insurance. Well, you caused $100,000 damage to my property. That's having underinsurance for you. So that way, again, you're covered. So when you get auto insurance, it's not as simple as saying, I just want my car covered. Well, it's not that simple. You can cover your car, sure, but you also need to be able to cover the damage you might do to another car, to another person, to other property. And that's really why it is mandatory in today's world that if you're going to be a driver and you're going to have a car, you have to be insured. If not, you can get into an awful lot of trouble, not just with the police, but with insurance companies coming after you because you were supposed to have auto insurance and you didn't. So when you get a car, you got to get auto insurance. It's mandatory. We'll see you next time.